In my opinion, we might have just reached the end game for low profile keyboards. In today's video, I'm taking a look at Nuphy's latest keyboard release, the Nos75. TLDR, it's really good. Before we begin, I want to disclose that Nuphy provided the Nos75 free of charge for the purpose of this review, but rest assured all opinions you hear today are completely my own and unbiased. Before we progress any further, let's take a look at the unboxing experience. The kit itself comes in the main box with an extra box for keycaps and a plastic container for the switches. The boxes are plastic wrapped featuring clean, minimal designs with information sleeves. Getting inside the box, you're presented with a super professional looking tray that contains an envelope with all the information manuals. A layer deeper, the kit itself comes wrapped in a large microfiber cloth. I always find this to be one of those things that adds a layer of sophistication to the experience of the user in unraveling their new product, so kudos to Nuphy for that. A layer deeper again, you're presented with all the accessories, including a box with a coiled USB A to C cable, and it's got nice matching accent pieces which shows a nice attention to detail. The toolbox then contains pouches with several mounting options which I'll go over later in the video, a nice metal screwdriver and a nice branded dual keycap and switch puller. So yeah, everything about this unboxing experience felt super purposeful and thought out. From the cloth to the cable, screwdriver to branded tools, it just really felt like I was unboxing a premium product. Okay, I'm quickly going to go over some of the main specs and features before I get into my own thoughts and opinions. The Nos75 comes in at $199 on Nuphy.com. It features an exploded 75% ANSI layout with 81 keys. It's got QMK and VIA support. With the main specs and features out of the way, before I actually get into my own thoughts, let's do a quick teardown and go over my own personal build configuration. So, flipping the board over, there's just 4 screws on the back you'll need to remove using the provided screwdriver. These screws are actually silicone boosted to prevent any sort of metal pingy noises. There's a single daughterboard connector on the back and there's not a whole lot of slack on it, so just be careful unplugging it. Now, I spent more time than I care to admit looking for a screwdriver small enough to unscrew the standoffs, so I thought I'd make it apparent that there's actually a spare piece just for this in the accessory kit. For foams and films, you're getting 5 layers, a thin layer of plate foam, an IXP switch pad, a PET film layer, PCB foam, and a final layer of case foam. By default, the board ships with a non-flex cut F44 plate, but I've also got a polycarbonate plate I'll be providing an alternate sound test for. The PCB is 5-pin hot swappable with south-facing RGB LEDs and pre-lubed screw and stabilizers. Nuphy's attention to detail is seen again in the bottom case, where it just feels like they've gone the extra mile. The Nos has Nuphy's signature Omni mounting, where by default the board is equipped with these silicone sock gaskets, but you can experiment with other mounting options to suit your personal preferences. Both Nuphy and Gatoron have collaborated on these N1 Nano low-profile switches. They're a 5-pin linear full palm switch that require an operating force of 50 grams with a total travel of 3.4 millimeters. So they're a pretty fast mid-force switch, which in my opinion makes them a good choice for gaming if you want a keyboard that does it all in one. Nuphy sent me their Maya imprint low profile switches in their own NSA profile. They're Daiso PBT with a nice light refreshing colour scheme with some novelty accent keycaps which I'm using in the navigation cluster. You also get a novelty keyboard fridge magnet with the keycaps. Need I say it again? Attention to detail here. Okay, with the teardown and build configuration out of the way, let's actually start by discussing the design and aesthetics. Okay, so I don't think there's really any denying how good this keyboard looks. As someone who's mostly accustomed to full height keyboards, I was really impressed by how neat looking this package was. The Maya imprint keycaps are super clean with tons of potential for customization. If they're not your cup of tea though, there's plenty more keycap themes you can opt for. The aluminium finish on the case looks impeccably smooth and has a nice sheen depending on how the light hits it. Speaking of, the Nos is constructed from a single piece of CNC machined 6063 aluminium and has a 0.09mm zircon sand polish, which essentially means that in my opinion, this by a good distance is the nicest, smoothest aluminium keyboard I own. Without going over the top, it is just extremely premium looking and feeling. Being aluminium, it's a substantially heavy keyboard which only adds to the premium vibe. So going into this review, I was expecting the Nos to have a pretty rigid typing experience due to the fact that it's both low profile and aluminium, so everything's kind of wedged in there. To my surprise, and thanks to the gaskets doing their job, it's actually quite cushioned all things considered. The underside of the board was tastefully designed with a nice logo CNC'd into the case. The wedge portion has this stadium shaped silicone foot which Nuphy are calling their gas foot because it's filled with air to serve a double purpose of both grip on your desk as well as a cushion. I really love to see innovation like this in keyboards, but my skeptical brain is wondering what a repair to this might look like. There's no adjustable feet underneath here, but the wedge gives the keyboard a 5-degree typing angle. I think one of the coolest design choices with this keyboard is the way the sides seamlessly wrap around to the underside, leaving only the top and bottom edges with distinct hard lines. This creates a sleek, modern aesthetic while offering a softer, smooth ergonomic feel. These sweeping sides have a couple of nicely diffused RGB pills that double as indicator LEDs. I think they're tastefully implemented, not super in your face. It's at this point I want to highlight what I deem to be the one major drawback of this keyboard. It's wired only, so no wireless connectivity. I think the nature of low profile keyboards is that they're nice and portable and you can really just take them around, but I wouldn't want to have to bring a cable around with me every time. In the same breath, I understand that that's not really going to be a problem for a lot of users who just have one setup that they need to plug their keyboard into. Back up top, as mentioned, you're getting an exploded 75% layout, which in my opinion is the perfect happy medium between form and function. You'll notice the function row have macOS labeled functions, which brings me to this. I think this keyboard is absolutely perfect for the Mac users. It's got perfect layout integration and really just strikes me as the perfect upgrade from the Magic Keyboard, keeping the low profile form factor whilst having upgraded pretty much everything else. Okay, I'm not sure how I made it to this point in the video without touching on sound, but if you looked at the thumbnail then you'll know that yeah, this keyboard has a super deep, low-pitched, talky sound profile. I'll have a sound test with both the factory F44 plate as well as the polycarbonate plate. Okay, to speak on software compatibility, the NOS has both QMK and V support, which is a big win. Briefly, this means you can use these trusted tools to customize your keyboard directly from your browser, meaning you don't need to download any of those sketchy softwares. The board has a 1000 Hz polling rate as well as N-key rollover or anti-ghosting, and paired with the faster than average switches, makes for a well-capable gaming pick in my opinion. If you weren't convinced, it's also got full RGB with a whopping 39 modes. Okay, I've done enough talking, so at this point I want to play the sound test before I leave you with my closing remarks and recommendations. To wrap things up, the Nos75 is a highly well-rounded, sophisticated keyboard that offers great customizability. From its premium build quality to its thoughtful design, Nuphy has gone above and beyond with this keyboard. The sound profile is another standout feature. The deep, talky sound it produces is highly sought after, and I think it's something that will attract a lot of attention. Yes, $200 might seem steep, especially compared to other options on the market, but I really just feel like it feels justified. The level of quality is evident throughout every aspect of this keyboard, so it really feels like you're investing in more than just a keyboard. So, while you can definitely find cheaper boards out there, the Nos75 offers a premium experience that makes it worth the extra cost, in my opinion. If you're in the market for a keyboard that balances aesthetics, build quality, and performance, the Nos75 is a super easy recommendation for me. That concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider dropping a like and subscribing because your support is greatly appreciated.